Back at it during the week again. Trying to take advantage of some of this spring-like weather that we have. This past weekend, not so favorable. I had things I kind of had to take care of anyways. But I got home, started jamming away at this. Got this center section done. I did decide I want to overlap this just in case, like when I weld it, it kind of buckles and it creates a low spot. So I think if I do it this way, it's going to give me more rigidity. I got it sitting pretty much where I want it. Got a couple gaps that are hanging a little bit. I'll take care of that as I start tack welding it in. This middle section needs pulled down a little bit, but I don't have another clamp that has that kind of reach on it. Started working on the other side. The other side I have I have a bit more work to do in this general area here. I do have the bottom section made. Pretty much how I want it. I took care of this section up in here. There's going to be a nice little overlap here where, you know, all the rain kind of flows this way so it won't get underneath this lip. This section here, I think I might try and take a piece and put on the back side of it just for that same reason of that overlap, although there shouldn't be a whole lot of water that gets up in here. And if there is, I might have bigger issues. But I'm going to start making templates. I got one there. I think I have to redo that now that I have everything kind of clamped in place. Make a template for this area, this back section, and this side here that kind of wraps around and completes this drain. So I'm going to get going on that. Give you a view of how the passenger side's going so far. I got this back section made, tacked into place. I have this front section that runs up against the cowl support. I got it tacked into place, have it wrapped around where it starts to form the drain. And the only thing I really have to do is this last piece. This side's a little bit different than the other side because this inside cowl is actually a little bit wider this way. I'd walk over and show the other side, but yeah. But anyway, so the only thing I really have to do is do this last piece here. That's probably going to be a tomorrow project. But just wanted to show you where I was at before I get too far ahead. Got all my many templates. But overall, I think this side's shaping up pretty good also. Got the majority of the passenger side done. I got the front piece made. I got both back pieces made. I had 35 thou wire in the welder whenever I did that side, and I had some smaller wire, and I thought that I would do better with smaller wire, but it turns out size does matter. Who knew? But anyways, I am too lazy to change the wire, so I'm going to actually practice with this. Hopefully I get a little bit better. I do have the new sheet metal going underneath the old, that way, you know, going with the water flow, it's going to flow this way and not get underneath here because water's not going to flow up that. Same thing on this side, I have it wrapped underneath and then this overlaps it. I did have a small issue with this, my angle was off, so I ended up cutting it off instead of doing that all over again because that was hard enough to do the first time. I don't want to do it again. So I'll end up welding a piece onto that to complete this drain. But I'm going to see about getting this all welded up today. I have it in the car. I'm going to see about getting it all welded, pull it out, clean it up, and then we will do final installation. So I tried fighting with that 25 thou wire that I had. Tried different settings. I just wasn't getting it. I wasn't getting nothing done. I'm sure there's different techniques you can use. I don't know. I'm working with what I have. So I did end up switching back to the bigger wire. So hopefully this continues to not suck. So I think some of the issue is between that side I welded up and this one, is this one I'm doing on the car. That one I did not, so I can kind of position it where I want it and it's easier to weld. This one I'm kind of like trying to do different angles and I got my welding helmet on. I can't get my head in exactly where I want it. So I got this last piece tacked. It's kind of an odd angle to get into. So I'm going to pull this piece out, finish welding it up, probably show you what it looks like after all of that. So I got the passenger side cowl drain. I got it taken off the car. I got it welded up. That's a little hot down there still. I did trim the excess overlaps I had. I did even weld it along the back, because even if I have pinholes from the front, what are the chances I'm going to have a pinhole in the exact same spot in the back? So, a little double protection there. I welded it along the back, all along this, all the way down. I still have to add, ouch, hot. I still have to add this part of the drain on that side because I had to cut it off here because it didn't work out the way it was supposed to. But I started welding and it started getting like real spattery. And then, according to the old gauge on the tank, I am pretty much done welding for the night until I get a new bottle. I mean, there is nothing. So, I will continue this later, but meanwhile, I'm going to start cleaning these up a little bit more than what they are, maybe grind down some of these high spots. I am going to use seam sealer on here to help seal up any kind of pinholes or anything that I'm missing, but I want to get it as clean as I can before I start applying that seam sealer. Got the passenger side all cleaned up. You can really see how ugly those welds are. I may have to do something about that. But what I lack in welding, I make up for in grinding. The back side, although you'll never see it, actually looks fairly decent now that it's kind of cleaned up and ground. I didn't get down in there because I can't get in there with my 4-inch grinder. But all in all, not too shabby. I will have to see about getting some more gas, and then I will have to pick this back up. Alright, got these panels cleaned up the best I could. Got some of the high spots on the welds ground down. That way, whenever I put that seam sealer in here, I'm not hitting those high spots. I got a new tank for the welder. We're going to get this thing in place. Probably put all of this back together just to make sure everything's going to line up before I start welding this in. Went around, got all the adjoining metal, got it all cleaned up. Hopefully get a nice clean weld on it. Get this back together and start getting it done. Here's the driver's side cowl drain. And I was mocking it up, and then I realized I forgot to put the brace in for the brake pedal here. And if you watch whenever I push the brake pedal, you can see how much flex that actually has. If I can hold the camera still and press at the same time. You can see how much that moves. So I am going to run a brace from here, probably run it up to the back side of this, just something to keep this from pushing back, because if you really got to jam on these brakes, the last thing I want is for this thing to bend down at this point here, and just take this whole thing and just bend it down. So I'm going to go ahead, throw a brace in there, then we'll finish fitting up the driver's side cowl drain. Got that brace all welded up in there. Got it welded to the front of the firewall. You can kind of see it. But it's better than having nothing in there. It'll be stiffened up even more once I put this panel on, because that's going to tie it to this. So this whole piece here is not going to move at all. Go ahead, start getting all these pieces mocked up into place, make sure everything still fits. Here are all the pieces mocked up. I did end up getting this one to overlap. So this old sheet metal is overlapping this new sheet metal, just the way the water flows. This piece has to get pushed down just a little bit yet, but I don't have any clamps that'll reach that far right now. Got the other side in, you can see it mocked up. And same thing on this side. The old sheet metal is overlapping the new, just in case water does somehow get in through here. It runs down and it's not going to get in between these two panels to get to the inside. It's just good practice. So I think I'm actually ready to start getting all this stuff welded in place. What do you say? Alright, here we got the passenger side. We got it installed, got it cleaned up. I'm not worried about grinding these welds down. I did do this one just because this is where the cowl's actually going to sit on, so I wanted to have this a nice flat surface. You can see some of those dents from the homemade tubing bender I made, but they're not bad. I can live with that. I'm not really going to focus on the welds that much because my welds aren't that great, but like right up through here I did pretty good, so I feel like the water's going to flow pretty well through here. Everything's sealed up fairly well. And alright, here is the driver's side cowl vent or drain, all put in, welded, ground down, cleaned up. I did clean these welds up right here just because the whole water flow. I don't want the welds to try and retain any water back in here, so I did smooth this section out. I'll probably do a better job before it's all said and done. I got that seam that was over here, I got that peened over, got it welded up. I don't know if I'm going to clean that up or not, that might not matter. But last thing I got to do is put this center section in. Yeah, so we got the center section, we got it pretty well placed where I want it. Now I just need to go through and just weld it in. Well, there is the finished product. Some of the welds not so great. I had a couple burn through issues in the back here. I don't know what that was about. I don't know if I didn't get like all this stuff cleaned off well enough. I had some spatter issues. I had a couple welding issues. Welds aren't the greatest. I feel like a couple people out there want to roast me on the welds. That's fine. Have at it. Some days I do great, some days I do okay, and today, well, you can judge for yourself. But all in all, I mean, it's sturdy, and hopefully it'll be waterproof. But again, like I said, I'm going to take seam sealer on all of these welds, just in case I do have some pinholes or, a burn through or something that I didn't see or something. But either way, I just want to make sure that all of this is watertight from that cold air intake whenever it rains and gets water down in there. All in all, I'm pretty happy with it. I do wish the welds would have turned out better, but it is what it is. I don't have enough sheet metal to start doing this, so I am going to start cleaning up some of this stuff, getting it looking a little bit better. And then I think what we're going to end up doing is I think we're going to start worrying about this here. I do have the metal for this because it's a different gauge. This sheet metal was 20 gauge, and then I bought 14 for down here. So whenever I tie this together with this, a little bit thicker, a little bit more robust. But I think in order to start doing all of that, I might have to put the doors on it. I don't know yet. I know I'm going to have to put the doors whenever I start doing like the fender mounts at the bottom and whatnot. But we'll figure it out as we go. But that's going to do it for this video. If you want to follow this build, like, subscribe, notifications, comments, all that good stuff. I try to reply to all the comments. Until next time.